There we go. So, Nerd Night, Colorado Springs. We've got it going. So Nerd Night has a bit of an identity crisis. Our tagline is be there and be square, which you see on our Facebook post all the time. But by show of hands, how many of you in like the late 90s and early 2000s had cable? So during that time, because Nerd Night is actually 25 years old this year, during the time where there was Discovery Channel, they used to call it, it's like the Discovery Channel with beer. But now that nobody has the Discovery Channel, now they more recently call it like boozy TED Talks. So welcome to Nerd Night, where we like to drink and learn at the same damn time. It's amazing. So as I said, my name is Flip Awesome Aguilera, and yes, my middle name really is Awesome. And this is my beautiful wife, Maritza Aguilera, and this is us in Miami at the Miami Nerd Night, the night that I asked her to marry me. So yes, Nerd Night holds a very special place for us. So Nerd Night is in over 100 cities all over the world. So wherever you go, if you're around a big metropolitan area, there's probably a Nerd Night that you can go to and go connect with other nerdy people all around the world. So how many of you, is it your first time at a Nerd Night tonight? I know what all of you are thinking. All of you. You're all thinking, if I had to present in front of a room of drunk smart people, what would I present on? How many of you were thinking that? You see, I've got that ESP working. So if you would like to present something that you are nerdy about, all you need to do is email nerdnightcos@gmail.com or tap me or Maritza on the shoulder, and we'll be happy to brainstorm getting you up here. Please follow, like, review, and share Nerd Night COS. We love to hear your feedback on the things that we're doing to try to bring our community together. And you can also check out our website that we never do anything on, so you can check it out if you want, but I can't even promise you I know it's on there. But I do know this is on there. So I said I asked her to marry me. This is the video of when I did that in the Nerd Night in Miami. So we also host another community building event. So if Nerd Night is fun and all we're learning, Memoirs is definitely more powerful, emotional, it's very strong. We have a few memoir alumni storytellers in the crowd tonight, so those people are awesome. And let's put our hands together for this awesome space, COATI, that lets us use this to nerd out every third Wednesday of every month. And keep clapping. I want to hear the hardest clap for you, Colorado Springs. You guys are amazing. I knew we would find a nerdy community here, and we're happy to be a part of all this fun, nerdy stuff with you. So tonight, we've got 3 presentations for you. We have The Whole Tooth and Nothing But the Tooth by Cynthia Fong. Presentation number 2, we have a reality check, Lucid Dreaming by Quinton Q, Black Bond Blanche. And we have presentation number 3, The Illusion of Privacy and How We Can Try to Get It Back. So with that, let's begin to get nerdy, and let's put our hands together as we welcome Cynthia Fong up to the stage to tell us about The Whole Tooth and Nothing But the Tooth. So down is forward, and here's your...
Okay. Down's pointing. Hello. First of all, I want to thank Flip and Maritza for the opportunity to present. This is a great venue for me to share my knowledge and other speakers to share their knowledge, but also for us all to learn. So thank you very much, Maritza and Flip. So I'm a dental hygienist, and I have a couple of disclaimers to share first. First of all, there's going to be some graphic images. I'm sorry for those images, however, I needed them for the information. The other thing is I'm an educator, so that I like to give questions. So throughout the presentation, I'm going to give you quiz questions. And as if we're in a classroom, raise your hand, don't shout out the answer. And every time you hear this, it means a question's about to begin. So, What is the total number of teeth an adult should have in their mouth? Yes. Sorry? 32. Excellent. Okay. So I'm a dental hygienist. I just want to tell you a difference between a dentist and a dental hygienist. A dentist primarily focuses on treating disease. A dental hygienist treats disease, but really my life revolves around prevention. So that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. How do you prevent disease from occurring? And who's responsible for preventing that disease? Is it me or is it you? The two diseases I want to focus on are dental caries and periodontal disease. The other thing the educator in me really focuses on using the correct terminology. So although many of us call dental caries cavities, cavity really refers to the hole in a tooth after the disease has occurred. Periodontal disease many times is referred to as gum disease, but gum is something you chew, and I hope it's sugarless gum. So it's going to be dental caries or periodontal disease. Oops, where's my bell? So what is the name of the accumulation that sticks to your teeth that causes dental disease? Plaque. Excellent. Okay, but it's not this type of plaque. It's this type of plaque. And plaque is bacteria that is held together by a matrix. And what you see here is bacterial biofilm, so that the standalone bacteria has to share nutrients and communicate with each other. So when you're removing plaque, you want to remove the standalone bacteria, but you also want to remove the matrix that allows the bacteria to communicate with each other. So plaque is something that cannot be seen readily, especially if it's newly deposited plaque. So you notice the first two images on the top appear as though those teeth are plaque-free. But with the aid of a disclosing solution, you can see that it's obvious that the plaque is in areas that are hard to reach. So if one of the things you can do is to monitor your health by looking in your mouth. Pull your cheek back, pull your lip down, and check to see if you have plaque accumulations. Again, most likely it's going to occur between teeth and on the back of teeth. So if you allow plaque to remain on your teeth, disease will occur. So what you need to do is to start monitoring the disease before it's obvious. So obviously, I love that expression on your face. This is obviously dental decay, but well before that level of disease occurs, you want to identify it when it's still treatable or reversible. So a dental carious lesion starts to look like this. It's really a white spot lesion before it actually penetrates into the enamel itself. And when you look at sound enamel, it's usually very glossy. It's glossy and it's translucent. As the disease progresses, it then penetrates through the enamel of the teeth, and it goes from being non-cavitated to cavitated. And obviously, if something looks like this, whether you're a nerd or not, I think you're going to know that you have a carious lesion. What are the stages of dental decay? In this stage, there's no pain whatsoever. In fact, if you look at it, the carious lesion is just at the surface of the tooth. And in fact, this image is a little, it's not correct, because most carious lesions, the triangle is inverted. The point of the triangle is toward the enamel surface, and the body of the lesion is below that outer layer of enamel. So that when you see a early lesion, it's going to look very much like a pinpoint, and it's only penetrated into the enamel of the tooth. As the disease progresses, the lesion then goes toward the root surface, and eventually it impacts the pulpal tissue or the nerve of the tooth, and that's when pain is elicited. So much better to treat a carious lesion when it's in this stage, and in fact there are certain strategies that you can reverse a carious lesion in the early stages. If you have a carious lesion, depending on the size and the location, there are several treatment strategies. Certainly, I think we're all well aware of a silver filling, which is not used as often as today, a composite filling, which is a white or tooth-colored restoration, and then a gold filling. That's when the lesion isn't as large. If the carious lesion is large, then the tooth then may require a crown. Remember, I'm a stickler on terminology. So some people are calling crowns caps. A cap is what this gentleman is wearing on his head. If you're talking about a structure covering a large carious lesion, it should be referred to as a crown. So anytime you crown a tooth, you're not only removing the disease, but you're also removing a large portion of the structure of the tooth. So certainly a crown would be a more aggressive treatment than having a type of filling done. Get ready. What's the name of the hard deposit that accumulates on teeth? Tartar. Okay, tartar is the layman's term. It's called calculus. And not like calculus, like a math problem. So absolutely, it's called tartar. Okay, so what does calculus look like? On a clean tooth, if you don't remove the bacterial plaque, within 24 hours, another layer of plaque accumulates, and it starts to become calcified with the calcium deposits in your saliva. What you see here is calculus that probably is accumulated over several years. In this case, the calculus deposit is below the gum line, and it's causing serious inflammation and infection. From a practitioner's standpoint, it's much easier for me to restore health on a patient who presents with this type of condition rather than someone presenting with this type of condition. But this is a result of bacterial plaque that's been able to remain on the tooth, and it's not removed. It gets calcified, and then it causes inflammation of the gingival tissues. So what are the stages? As we talked about the stages of dental caries, let's review the stages of periodontal disease. So because you're with your mouth 365 days of the year, you may only see me once or twice a year, you're responsible for monitoring your own health or disease. So the first thing you want to do is to look at the image in the middle. Healthy tissue is light pink in color. It's stippled. Kind of think of the skin of an orange peel. And it's very knife-like. It contours in between the teeth. So this is a healthy condition. If you look at what's happening below the situation, all of the bone contours very closely to the crown of the teeth. The other thing is when you go to a dental hygienist, you may hear her or him use it's a probe that's got millimeter readings on it. And they take measurements and they go 222, 333. What they're measuring is from the base of the pocket to the height of the margin of the gum. And healthy attachment is 3 millimeters or less. If you start to hear measurements like 5 or 7 or 8, that's telling you're having active disease occurring. So this is a healthy condition. Light pink in color, stippled, very contouring in between the teeth. As the disease progresses, progresses, again, you're going to see that there's a little bit of inflammation, a little bit of bulbousness to the gingival tissue. And then also what happens is if I were to use that periodontal probe, I would start to hear readings of maybe 4s and 5s. You notice that the contour of the bone is also progressing toward the root surface itself. The next 3 images are periodontitis, which is inflammation of the periodontal structure, which is the bone and the fibers that attach the tooth to the bone. So this is early periodontitis. You notice that the levels are now getting deeper. Now it's 5 and maybe 7 millimeters. You notice that the contour of the bone is regressing as well. And if you're looking clinically in your mouth, you'll see that there is significant inflammation and redness of the gum tissue. That's moderate periodontitis. Advanced periodontitis, there's going to be mobility in the teeth themselves. If you look at the radiographs, you'll see that there's significant bone loss, and there's attachment levels that are now 4 or 5 millimeters. So in other words, if this was your tooth, and this was the bone around the tooth, as the disease progresses, the tooth could be perfectly disease-free, but the attachment levels start to migrate. And then what you see is you start to notice the root of the tooth. And as the disease progresses further, you see more of the root of the tooth, and eventually you lose the tooth. Not that the tooth is diseased, but everything around the tooth is diseased. So it requires that you start to see changes in the color of the tissue first. And it's unfortunate because dental caries causes people to go seek treatment. Periodontal disease can go from here to this without any pain whatsoever. So it's your ability to observe changes in the gum tissue color to let you know that you're having active periodontal disease. So clinical treatment. A patient comes in, this is one of those graphic images. A patient comes in with this type of oral condition or with this type of oral condition. And so they're seated in my operatory and they say, I've come in for a what? You've come in for a checkup and a cleaning. So I find that to be somewhat erroneous because I am not taking, and this may take me 4 appointments to maintain health on this patient who started from here to here. That is not cleaning. This is not polishing. What I'm doing in a case like this, I'm treating wounds. These are active periodontal wounds where there's inflammation. I have to go in there and excavate the area. I have to restore health. And then you go home and you have to keep that wound cleaned as well, similar to any other wounds that you may have in your body. Same thing with here. This is staining. Most people want the stain removed because it makes it look nicer. But staining really by itself doesn't contribute to disease. Staining does tend to be a little rougher, so it accumulates more deposits of plaque. But stain alone is just aesthetic. There's no therapeutic reason to remove stain. So I do that through, as I mentioned, excavating the wound through using hand instruments or automated instruments. Some of you may have had where if you have scaling, there's an instrument, it's called an ultrasonic. It vibrates 30,000 times in 1 second. There's water that's used as well, but in most cases, either hand instruments or an automated instrument, what I'm doing is excavating and cleansing out that wound. It's a wound, it's not cleaning. So it's wound care and stain removal. What 2 terms should you never use when we're talking about treating periodontal disease? Someone said it before. Sorry? Cleaning is, yeah, cleaning is one. Remember, I'm not cleaning, I'm treating wounds. And what's the other one? Oh, that's yours. Polishing. I'm not polishing, I'm removing stain. So I really prefer you not to use those terms cleaning and polishing unless you're referring to cleaning your floors, polishing furniture, Polish sausage, if you're from Poland, or you're using nail polish. So it's wound care or removing stains. So we're back to prevention. I told you what I do if you come into an office for treatment of dental caries or periodontal disease. But again, you only probably see me once or twice a year. It's what you do every day that's going to prevent disease from occurring. So I'm going to go through what your responsibilities are going to be. So dental caries occur with a combination of factors, but it also requires time in which acid is produced to cause the disease. How many minutes occur every time all the factors causing dental caries, how many minutes is acid produced? 20, exactly. So what are the factors that cause dental caries in addition to time? You need a tooth. If you don't have any teeth in your mouth, you're not going to have any further disease. You need some type of substrate or food for that disease to occur, and usually it's sugar, but it could be any carbohydrate. Most of you who are eating any type of even healthy food, there's carbohydrates that are going to contribute to dental caries. You're also going to need that plaque, the bacterial plaque, and then time. In combination, all those four forms have to create a perfect storm in order for the disease to occur. Every time you have that combination occur, the acid production occurs and the pH drops below the acid level. And for 20 minutes, your teeth are being bathed in an acid wash. So in other words, if you're going to have dessert, you should eat your dessert with your meal because that'll result in 20 minutes of acid production one time. If you eat your meal, 20 minutes acid production, and then you have your dessert an hour from now, that's another 20-minute assault. So much better to eat everything all at one time, get one assault, less caries risk. It's an interesting fact. When you go trick-or-treating when you did as a child, do you remember you came home with your whole bag of treats and your parent told you to do what with that bag of treats? Eat one a day for a month. With my kids, and my daughter is here, I made her eat all that candy in that same night. She threw up, but she had really good teeth. So much better to eat all of those sweets at one time rather than doling it out. Same thing. Every time you eat a snack between the meal, you increase your risk of dental caries. So even if you throw up, no, if throwing up's better, you'll save your teeth. Okay. So so your ability to prevent dental caries depends on those four factors and trying to stop one of those four factors. Your ability to stop periodontal disease has to do with monitoring tissue health. So healthy tissue is light pink in color, stippled, and very contoured between the teeth. So it's obvious that this is healthy tissue. Contoured between the teeth, stippled, light pink in color. This, you start to see that there's some bulbal tissue and then some inflammation. And obviously, there's even more inflammation in this case here. What's interesting to me is that many patients come to me and say, yeah, my gums were bleeding, but I don't think it's really anything. I saw that my gums were slightly red and puffy, but I wasn't concerned. If you think about it, if you saw any inflammation or bulbous projections on your hand and it felt tender, no one would ignore that. So I think you have to become that aware in your mouth too. Get your hands in your mouth, pull your lip down, pull your cheeks out, and start to look to see what is healthy tissue in your mouth. So how do you then help yourself? Obviously, toothbrush. The type of toothbrush has to be a soft toothbrush. Size of toothbrush, size does matter. It depends on your mouth. If you have a small mouth, if you have a small mouth, you might have to use a child's toothbrush. The larger the toothbrush you have, the less effective you are at removing plaque. I generally recommend a toothbrush that is no larger than the size of a single tooth. That's going to force you to focus on one tooth at a time. Smaller is better. You can use an electric toothbrush or an automated toothbrush or manual. It doesn't matter. I tend to like an automated toothbrush because the head size is usually smaller. But the technique has to be the same. How often you should brush depends on what oral disease you're trying to prevent. If you know your oral disease, you're prone to dental caries, you're going to have to brush probably 3 times a day. If your oral disease is periodontal disease, remember plaque only accumulates within 24 hours, then good news, you only have to brush once a day. So there is not a one-size answer for everyone. It depends on what's happening in your mouth. What about the technique for toothbrushing? And I could spend the whole presentation talking about that, but what I want you to know is every tooth has 5 surfaces. So if this was a tooth, you have the top biting surface, you have the 2 sides, you have the tongue side, and then you have the lip side. You have to think about when you brush your teeth, you're going to brush all 5 surfaces, not just the side that you see in the front. And then tongue brushing is also important. Take your toothbrush, put it to the base of the tongue, pull forward to remove any of the bacteria that may be embedded into the tongue itself. How often should you brush your teeth? Is there anyone who didn't answer yet? How often do you think you should replace a toothbrush? Sorry? Okay, I got one answer. You should replace your toothbrush once a week or every 5 years. Okay, I applaud you for saying every 5 years because I think most people tend to use their toothbrush much longer. Now this gentleman who said replace the toothbrush once a week, do you work for a toothbrush manufacturer? Okay. How often? Okay, my friend here said once a month. I'll give it to you. I like your hat. Okay. You replace your toothbrush 1 to 3 times a day? I know. Okay, so it really depends. If your toothbrush looks like this, it's time to replace that toothbrush. Or if you're using an automated toothbrush and it looks like that it has to be replaced. I can't tell you. I don't know how many toothbrushes you have going on. You might have one in your car, one in your bedroom, one in your bathroom. What you have to do is look at the bristles. A toothbrush that is still usable, bristles are straight up like this. The minute they begin to splay, you have to replace it. How about toothpaste? So if you look, and I'm hoping that I've increased your awareness, if you look at toothbrush commercials now, you'll see that most commercials show this amount of toothpaste on the toothbrush. It's not the toothpaste that removes the plaque, it's the mechanical action of the bristles against the tooth. In fact, the toothpaste almost impedes the ability for those bristles to come in contact with the tooth surface. So you only use toothpaste if the active ingredient in the toothpaste is something that's helping with your disease. If your disease is dental caries, you want a toothpaste that has fluoride in it. If your disease is periodontal disease, you want a toothpaste that has an ingredient to combat bacterial plaque. How much toothpaste you should use? Either a pea size or the size of a particle of rice. The more toothpaste you use, the less effective you are at mechanically removing the plaque from the tooth surface. How about dental floss? I was always a purist. I told all patients you have to use this type of floss. You wrap it around your fingers. I'm just happy if you use any floss so that these floss picks are very popular these days. Let's show my friend. He carries his around. Okay. Because of that, you need this. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, you get one too. Okay. So it's not the type of floss, but it's the technique. Most people floss their teeth like this. I have no idea what that person's doing. The purpose of floss is to clean bacterial plaque from the sides of a tooth. So you have to contour the floss around the tooth surface in a C or U formation. So you're not using floss in the space. You're using the floss either against one side of a tooth or the opposing side of the tooth. So think, adapt before you start your movement up and down. And although these picks work, it takes a little bit more pressure to apply the floss against the tooth surface. How about mouth rinses? How many of you are currently using a mouth rinse? Okay, mouth rinses are not necessary unless the active ingredient is also helping your specific disease in your mouth. If your disease is dental caries, you want a mouth rinse that has fluoride in it. If your disease is sensitivity, you want a mouth rinse that has an ingredient that combats sensitivity. But mouth rinse, if you're using a mouth rinse because you have an unpleasant taste in the mouth, you're using it to make your disease taste better. Mouth rinse is not necessary. Okay. If you only had time to brush or floss, what should you do? Okay, let's do a poll of the audience. Raise your hand if you think if you only have time to use one device, it should be a toothbrush. Raise your hand. Okay, put your hands down. Raise your hand if you think it should only be floss. Okay, the floss wins. It should be floss. Again, remember when I showed you that image with the bacterial plaque that was disclosed? Most of the time that bacterial plaque will remain in areas that are well protected, which is in between the teeth, not the flat surface of the teeth. Okay? How often should you visit a dentist or dental hygienist for an examination? Tell me, Q. Every 90 days. Six months. Okay, 6 months is a fallacy. It's insurance companies who give you the benefit of seeing your dentist twice a year or a dental hygienist. So it really depends on your oral disease. I have patients who have to come in every 3 months. I also have patients who really are compliant with their oral self-care that I promote them. We make a big deal. Maritza, you're plaque-free, you've come in too early, let's promote you from 6 months to 9 months. You come in 9 months, there's nothing for me to do, I'm promoting you to once a year. So the fallacy of twice a year is really dictated, I'm gonna give this to Q, is really dictated by the insurance carriers. You need to base how often you see a professional based on your oral condition. Okay, so here is a test. Okay, so I've given you 4 examples. Let's say you look in your mouth and you notice these oral conditions. Which figure has significant disease and which one is healthy? So raise your hand if you think image A has active disease going on. Excellent, okay. What type of disease is there in figure A? Is it, remember we talked only about 2 diseases. It's periodontal disease. Okay, how about image B? Is there active disease in image B? What type of disease is that? Periodontal disease, and what's causing that periodontal disease? Plaque or biofilms. How about image C? Is there active disease in image C? What type of disease? It's what type of disease? It's periodontal disease. Is it early, moderate, or advanced? Can you see the root of the tooth? Yes, so it's at least moderate. Okay, how about D? Is there active disease in D? This person would have been promoted in our office to a longer interval. So good. Okay. So bottom line, prevention, stopping disease in your mouth has nothing to do with me unless you want to pay me to come to you and I'll brush and floss your teeth every morning. I think somebody should start that type of business. But it's really up to you. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. I know that I'm one of those people that needs to go to the dentist every 3 months. I have to. I cannot, no matter how good I take care of my teeth, I have to go every 3 months. All right, so now there's a little something that we like to call Nerd Night Trivia. So Nerd Trivia, this time we're doing an August edition. So just like Cynthia said, raise your hands if you know the answers, like good little boys and girls. Do not shout out the answers. And my lovely assistant will throw some, yeah, he has great teeth. He'll throw some sugar to you so that you can be able to see Cynthia earlier. All right, question number 1. What or who was the month of August named after? Who, Augustus? Yes. So a Roman emperor, Augustus Caesar. Very good. Question number 2. On the 5th of August, 1962, Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for trying to overthrow which country apartheid rule? South Africa. Very good. These are easy. You guys should know. What event took place on the 6th of August, 1945? I can't hear. Oh, no. Mm-mm. Oh, yes. You still get something. You get an airhead for getting the wrong answer. Any other? Hiroshima bombing. Yes, very good. Thank you so much. All right. So follow, like, review, share us on Facebook, Instagram, all the things. We're going to take a 10-15 minute break and we will be right back with Q to learn about some lucid dreaming.
All right, nerds, it's time to get back to our seats with a full beer or a full drink, hopefully. And let's get to our next presenter. So where's the black bond? Q, get on up here. Everybody put your hands together for Q. Quinton Q Blanche, who's going to tell us a little bit about lucid dreaming.
Thank you, my friend.
Down is forward, and if you need spotlight.
Okay. Thank you, my friend. How we doing this evening? Okay. All right. We having a pretty good night? Can you guys hear me out there? Just want to make sure. Awesome. Man, the topic tonight, I just thought that the topic of dreaming would be impactful. So real quick, before we even get started, ask yourself right now, are you dreaming? Okay. No, like really, are you dreaming? Okay. If you were dreaming right now, what would you guys do in your dream? Roller coaster. Okay. There's a ton of stuff. The key to what I'm going to talk about tonight is about awareness. Who's heard of the topic of lucid dreaming before? Okay. Who's had a lucid dream before? So you guys are in the right spot. I think it's one of the most fascinating phenomena in the world. And I will share a little bit about my story and how this goes. But tonight I titled this Reality Check. To be able to dream while you're sleeping and have awareness that you're dreaming, it takes having a healthy suspicion for reality. So, right now, are you dreaming? Am I a dream character? My name's Quinton Blanche. I'm from Colorado Springs, and I always joke, I call myself Chocolate Chip, okay? So, is the chocolate chip version of Q talking to you right now? Ask yourself. And that's the secret to becoming aware in your dreams. I'd say it's about 5 years ago, I found myself outside with my skateboard in my hand. I look up and I see an elementary school that I like to skateboard at. So I put my board down, I start cruising over to the school, I hop on this ledge, I do a quick 50-50 grind. Any skateboarders in here? Okay, no skateboarders, but it's a cool trick. I hop off the ledge and I start riding down the sidewalk. And it was a beautiful day. There was not a single cloud in the sky. And then I look to my left as I'm riding my skateboard, and I see a lush field of grass, just purity. And I wonder, man, this is interesting. It's perfect days, but this is perfect. And I'm just enjoying my skateboard, just cruising down the road. For some reason, I got this intuition to look over my shoulder, and I saw this massive building. It looked like an Italian villa, and it caught my attention. I put my skateboard down. I jump over the fence. Now, let me ask you, you guys know I'm in trouble if I'm jumping over any fences, right? Okay? I jump over the fence, and the bricks that built this building were so distinctive. So I start climbing this building. I come up to the wall. I start climbing it like the black Spider-Man, like the chocolate Spider-Man. And as I'm going up, one brick had a series of letters on it. It said XQT3, and that just seemed weird to me, right? That's just weird. I look away for a split second, and then I look back at the letters, and they begin to dissolve. They begin to dissipate. And it dawned on me, I'm dreaming. And I had a lucid dream. The feeling that I had, it was pure euphoria. It felt like sex, like good sex. I'm just seeing if you guys are awake out there, okay? I like to have fun. But it was euphoria, and what I was having was called beginner's luck. A little bit earlier, I had a friend tell me when we were hanging out, he said, Q, did you know that you could be awake while you're dreaming? And I said, shut the front door. Shut the front door. No way. I'd never heard about that. I had beginner's luck. It was my first time having a lucid dream, and it was the most wonderful experience. So if the dream is a translation of the waking world, then the waking world, what we're experiencing right now, is a translation of our dreams. Ask yourself again, are you dreaming? That's the key to having lucid dreams. What if you could right now start to fly? What if you could time travel? What if you could visit people who have passed away? What if you could ask your inner self, your deepest fears, your most insecurities, your greatest triumphs, and you could have that conversation with yourself? Dreaming world is powerful. Who all knows we have a conscious mind, right? Do you guys use your conscious mind? To get here tonight, you used it, right? But who's already forgot how you got here tonight? What controls the behind the scenes? Your subconscious mind. So when we're sleeping, I think that our conscious and subconscious kind of have this connection, and we can learn more about ourselves. So what is dreaming? It's a universal human experience. Have you guys ever seen a dog dreaming? Have you guys seen the meme? It's the video where the dog had his eyes closed, and it was almost like he was riding a bike, and all of a sudden, Spotto crashes into a wall. It's like, wow, even dogs dream. What's so interesting is I think that in Western society, at least right now in the times we're in, we're so damn busy, we don't have time to consider our dreams. We have so much going on, we barely get any sleep. But yet, sleep is one of the most important factors to your well-being. So that's why I'm here talking with you tonight. I think dreaming is a collection or recollection of your memories, your experiences, your past, your present, your future, and I believe they're meant to be interpreted and explored. Who's ever seen the movie Inception? Great movie, right? Could you right now, is there something that's bothering you in your life that if you were to go into your dream, you might find an answer? Could that change your life just by going in your dream? Here's another thing that I think is very curious for me. Do you guys know how much we sleep on average during the night? How many hours would you guys say that you sleep on average? 6 to 8 hours. Anybody get 4 or less? Do you guys remember your dreams? at 4 or less, it's pretty hard to do because we have to get deeper sleep. Sleep is something that God has given us all to recollect our memories and start problem solving while we're asleep at night, and we happen to call it dreaming. I think dreaming is a way of wish fulfillment. Have you guys ever had an issue, go to bed, wake up in the morning, have the answer? I'm a musician. Any musicians out there? I've gone to bed and woken up with a song playing in my head, and it turns out to be beautiful. The dream world is powerful. History of dreams. Dreaming dates back all the way to 3100 BCE to King Gilgamesh. It was said that King Gilgamesh used his dreams for his decisions. He said they were prophetic. They were guidance. The Egyptians believed that the dream world was a direct correlation to the spirit world. What's interesting is their dream interpreters were called masters of secret things. Now, I am the Black Bond. I do like to keep some secrets, but your dreams have a ton of secrets within them. The Greeks, actually, Artemidorus wrote a book, 5-volume book called Onira Critica, which basically states that your dreams are different than mine, that your dream signs are different than mine, that what you experience is unique to you. That's how dreams work. Now, the Tibetans, I love what they did for lucid dreaming. They set the groundwork for our dreams today, what we're doing with lucid dreaming and our scientific research. When you're asleep at night 8 hours a day, how long does the average person live right now? 70, 80, 90? What if you could live to 150, 200 years old? What if I told you guys right now that I'm 75 years old? Black don't crack, that's what they say. Like to have fun, right? But in your dreams, you're sleeping, but you can live a whole nother life. Wouldn't it be beneficial to you to be awake while you're sleeping? To have more life to live? That's how I see it. And the Tibetans believed that. And we have the Romans, the Hindus. We have so many cultures that believed in dreaming. But it's interesting that only in Western society we've gotten to a point where we don't really think our dreams mean much. Every time I can ask 10 people over coffee, hey, what's going on in your dreams? They would say, I think I remember one. But yet so many answers lie within your own dreams, and we don't even think they're significant. Most important thing, history brought us to here, and we have what was called the Dark Ages. Who knows the Dark Ages? Okay? Because of their philosophies, the dogmatic practices, the spread of Christianity and the religion and the manner that they spread it, dreams died. They died. And they kind of got put on the back seat for a little bit, and we didn't see that dreams were significant. Which brings us to the modern times. And now we're starting to bring people back to awareness of how powerful your dreams can be, a therapeutic process. For us to understand that, we need to understand our sleep cycles. Who's heard of REM sleep before? Rapid eye movement. So there's 5 stages to sleeping. The most important for dreaming, where your most vivid dreams are going to be, is REM sleep. And there's some tips and tricks I'll give you guys to actually end up in REM sleep faster and with more consistency. We have 2 people, Keith Hearn and Alan Worsley, in the Department of Psychology in England. They made one of the greatest discoveries in history to help us see that lucid dreaming was real. So let's say me and Sonny, I'm talking to her. I say, hey, Sonny, did you know you could be awake while you're dreaming? Sonny says, no, I don't know if that's true. This is how we're going to prove it to Sonny that it's real. So what they did is when they hit REM sleep, the gentleman, Keith, would go to sleep and he would move his eyes in a certain arranged pattern. Maybe left, right 8 times, up, down 5 times. I'm not sure the lingo, but they had some kind of code. When he went to sleep and he had a lucid dream, he moved his eyes in the exact manner that he said he was, and Alan knew that he was within a dream to prove that we're actually conscious while we're dreaming. So it gave us proof that the dream world actually exists. So let me ask you guys again. Are you dreaming? So anybody thinking about taking some time out tonight, having some fun after for dream? Do you guys want to fly? Who wants to time travel? Do you guys have any issues in your life right now that you would like solved? Do you have a song that you want to write? Do you have somebody that you want to see? You can do it in your dreams, and they proved that it was possible. And also, too, one thing on REM period, the longer you sleep, the longer your REM periods are, too, so you have a higher chance of lucid dreaming. So now, time to become lucid. Are you dreaming? Are you dreaming? Are you sure? That's the question. If you just ask yourself that throughout your day, you'll find yourself having a couple lucid dreams just from that one fact, just one question. You have to have a healthy suspicion for reality. So right now, I'm questioning myself up here. Are you guys even real to me? Are you my dream characters? I don't know. Oh, so this is showing up a little different, but it's all about awareness and intention. What I recommend for you all tonight, if you seriously want to have a lucid dream, go get yourself a dream journal. Go pick up a dream journal. Get a pen. Make it unique to yourself. This is where you're going to record everything going on in your dreams. Write down who you met, what they were wearing, what the scene looked like. Was there music playing? Was it nighttime? Was there stars out? A lot of times in my dreams, I'm running. And it's from the cops. I don't know why. But that has actually turned out to be one of my dream signs. So right now, if I started running, hopefully I reality check myself. Okay? You also want to have fun with this. Don't think of it as a chore. Think of this as something that's, you're embarking on a personal journey that's vivid and it's colorful. Have fun with that. And set intentions. Here's a great example of desire. If this doesn't really ring a bell with you, it might happen, but it won't consistently happen. It has to be a desire. So let's say we're at a hotel right now, and we get a call that we're on the top floor. Okay, we're on the top floor at the 50th floor, and we get a call that there's a fire on the 70th floor. Okay, because it's a tall skyscraper. If there's a fire on the 70th floor, do I have to be as fast? But let's say I get that call, and the fire's on the bottom floor, and I'm on the 50th floor. Do I have to move a little bit faster? Because my desire's there. Why most people don't have lucid dreams? They just don't have a desire to have a lucid dream. You just got to want it. Let me ask you guys this. Is there something in your life that you feel like's missing? And if you could just have it happen, everything in your life would improve? I guess not. And that's what's so interesting about me in Western society. We're kind of apathetic to being aware. We're kind of just on this, mundane, autopilot. Don't even remember how we drove. Don't remember what I ate for breakfast today. Don't remember who I talked to. And that's why it's very hard to learn how to lucid dream, because it requires you raising your awareness. Anybody meditate out here? It will help with your awareness, just being focused. So set intentions, question reality, raise your awareness. Also, who's heard of a totem? The movie Inception. So I don't have my totem. My totem's very unique to me, but I brought this to give you an example. This is a quarter. With this quarter, it has some weight to it. Also, it has two sides on it. Typically, when I go in a dream and I look at it, it'll change, which will let me know that I'm dreaming. So if you have a personal totem that's personal to you, you can use it while you're dreaming. You can be Leonardo DiCaprio from Inception. Okay? So that's how you raise your awareness. Now, here's an example. This is a gentleman's dream journal excerpt. He said, for 2 days, I asked myself as many times as I could remember whether or not I was dreaming. Of course, almost every time I was not. And it felt weird to continue asking, but I like how it brought me more presence and awareness in my waking state. On the second night, I found myself outside my house, and I stopped to ask the same question, am I dreaming? I tested this by looking at my hands. Much to my surprise, when I counted my fingers, I saw that I had 11 fingers. Now, I'm checking all of y'all tonight. Do any of y'all have 11 fingers? So I know I'm dreaming. And I checked again. I am dreaming. I shouted. It was the best feeling. I finally answered the question with a yes. This is a dream. I ran and jumped in my flight, testing my superhuman strength. David G. Have you guys ever flown in your dreams? I just think it's interesting to me that in this plane, because I've already asked myself if I'm dreaming tonight, that I can't fly, that I can't just make something happen or change the scene, but in my dreams, I have unlimited capabilities. So I like to think of it as like a sixth sense almost, that what we're capable in our dreams. Now that you're awake, what to do in your lucid dream? Have fun, explore. It's a journey for you to embark on. It is a soliloquy with yourself through a visual experience that we call dreaming. Okay? Also, remember, even though if you have a lucid dream tonight, you can still forget that you had one. So dreams can be so fleeting. I like to say it's like you see an attractive woman at somewhere, and you don't go talk to her, and she leaves. Well, dreams are fleeting. You've got to be a little bit more proactive. Here's some tips that I use. If you're in a lucid dream and you feel like you're losing some, like it's starting to disappear, try spinning. It will bring more sustainability to the dream. It can sometimes even change your environment and your location that you're in. So some of my dreams, I'm not gonna get too personal. I feel like I was a ninja in a past life. So I have a lot of dreams where I have swords and I'm running from all kinds of groups of people. Sometimes I'll spin and the next thing I'll be is a superhero. It's really cool stuff, but it takes awareness. There's levels to this, okay? Also, consider your environment. Where are you? Right now, I'm in COATI. It's pretty loud. There's a lot of people. I feel I'm a little nervous because people are looking at me weird. You know, I'm just asking questions. I'm being aware. I see Flip. I know Flip. I see Marita. I see her. I know Justin. I know Luke. I know Tyler. I know everybody. I know Sunny. I just met Miranda. I'm questioning what's real and what's not. This is the key to being lucid dreamer. It's just questioning your reality. Who's heard of the term oneironaut? This is a term by the Greeks, I believe. Oneira means dreams. Nautis means sailor. So essentially, an oneironaut is someone who sails the dream world, who journeys through the dream world. And there are secrets within that. There are conscious things that you won't know, that you won't consciously know of, but your subconscious knows right now the answer. I've had dreams that were kind of premonitions where a week later they took place. So don't underestimate the power within your own subconscious mind. And I think it's in your dreams. Also, problem solving, overcoming nightmares, healing. People have healed diseases through their dreams. I love using it as a rehearse for life. If you play guitar in your dreams, it's just like playing guitar in real life. If you learn martial arts in your dreams, it's just like learning martial arts in real life. And guess what? You can have dream sex. Man, you guys could use some more sex. Wow. That's the meaning after this one, okay? I like to have fun. And smiley face. No, honestly. Honestly, it's therapeutic, guys. There's nothing wrong with having your ultimate desires that you seek and knowing what those are within your dreams. That's personal to you. There's nothing wrong with, how do we all get here, guys? So there's nothing wrong with romanticizing your dreams, okay? Here's some tips and tricks. Wake back to bed. So here's a good one. What I'll do is I'll go to sleep for 4 or 5 hours. Usually I'll wake up and I have to use the bathroom. I'll stay up about 15, 20 minutes, and then I'll go back to bed. My mind is up, but my body wants to sleep. So what happens is when you go back to sleep, you actually end up going back into your dream state with your mind aware. So you can literally have more lucid dreams just by taking 4 or 5 hours. And the REM periods get longer throughout the night. Also, what you study is what you learn. So what you study, learning articles, being here, can start the process. Also, dreams are like a puzzle. Who's ever woken up in the morning and you had a dream, but you start to move and you forget it? It just disappears. It's fleeting. So don't move. Tell yourself your intention before you go to bed that you're going to wake up, be still, and you're going to try to recall your dream. What happens for me a lot of times, I remember, oh, yeah, there was this lady talking to me. Oh, yeah, there was this cat. Oh, yeah, there was this group of people. And I start piecing together my dream like a puzzle, and you start to remember it. Dream recall is going to be your best friend when trying to perfect the art of lucid dreaming. Okay, you got to be able to remember your dreams. Because you could have a lucid dream right now and forget that it even happened. It happens. Also, cat naps. I love cat naps. Who could use a nap? Okay, I'm not trying to put you to sleep right now, but don't take a nap. But cat naps, 30 minutes, 45, 90, have been said to be vivid and great for lucid dreamings. Reality check, reality check, reality check. To me, I have this battle with myself about my past life to my present, who I am right now, and to what the future is. And I believe that time doesn't exist in the dream world. I believe that the present is. So with closing on this, dreams are universal. We all have them. I might have even seen some of you in my dreams. Who knows? In that movie Inception, do you guys remember the scene where he's sitting down with her at the coffee shop and he's trying to get her to realize she's dreaming at that moment? And he says, how did you get here? Do you remember? Who did you talk to? What are we talking about? Leonardo DiCaprio. And she says, actually, what? And then the dream starts to break apart, come apart, tear apart. Do you guys remember that scene? That's how dreams are. That's just how they are. It's an experience for all of us to dive deep into. Not just put your toe in the water. Let's dive in. Because Western society has forgotten how much your spirit matters, how much your subconscious runs. We're so busy, busy, busy. I think we're just too busy to even consider what happens in our dreams. But I can tell you, as a child, I was raised to believe in my dreams, and little did I know that I can learn everything about myself and what those dreams look like if I would just dive into my own mind when I'm asleep at night. We're all going to sleep anyways. You might as well live a greater life while you're asleep. That's how I see it. It will enhance your well-being. I believe it leads to time travel. The Egyptians believed you could shapeshift and you could time travel. They believed you could leave your body while you were sleeping. And I think that's not too far-fetched. Keep a dream journal. Keep reality checking yourself everywhere. One thing right now, everybody do this for me real quick. Look at your hands. Count how many fingers you have. And really ask, like, do you see the mark in the middle of your hand? Does that look normal? And if you start doing this normally, you'll start having lucid dreams. Shake someone's hand. A lot of times, I'll try to stick my finger through my hand. And in a dream, it will do that. Right now, it didn't, so, we're not dreaming right now, but I would love if we were. And I think it's the most fascinating way to link to your conscious and subconscious. And hear this, too, guys. This one's big. You can just sleep. You don't have to always lucid dream. You don't always have to be taking dream journals. But I can promise you this. If you do keep a journal, start writing down what's happening, you're going to start finding insight in yourself. I think you're going to unlock some answers that you've been searching for. Maybe it was a past thing. Maybe it's now. Maybe it's in the future. Maybe it's who you want to become. I know for me, I hear music out of my dreams. You guys will one day hear that song, and it came from my dreams. So you've got to ask yourself, if you had unlimited potential, what would you do with it? And I think that can be found in your dreams. Carl Jung says, he who looks outside dreams, he who looks inside awakens. I truly believe, I think our world's just asleep. I think we're just so busy. We forgot that we're not a body having a spiritual thing, but we're spirits and a body. That we're people that are creatures that, we're made by God of the Most High. That we have goals, we have dreams, we have inner desires. That all shows up in your spirit world. It's not this material stuff. And we got so far away from dreaming. I think we just, we're so busy in America, we're so busy in Western society, we forget to look within. So I'm asking you right now, are you dreaming? Thank you. Oh yeah, questions. Questions, please? I didn't expect questions. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes. So she said sometimes she's dreaming and she realizes that she's dreaming and that wakes her up. So you do realize that you're lucid, that you are dreaming? Okay. For sure. So I think it's just practice. How long have you been doing this for? Okay, for sure. So it's just practice. It's good that you've already had that because you're aware, and that's the number one spot. Do you have a dream journal? Keep a dream journal, and then what you want to do is write that down. Write down what you remember because most people don't remember their dreams. Trust me, in the last week, you guys have had plenty of dreams. You just haven't remembered them. They just go away. Isn't that crazy? You could be like a serial killer in a dream, and like you just like you had it, and then you wake up, you're like, what the heck, right? But if you keep a journal, then it'll help with your recall. And then when you wake up, try not to move and just try to remember, I know I was dreaming, and then write that down, and it'll get easier. Yes. Okay, so I don't know what that's like for a woman, but I can speak on a guy. So she said, I guess, what's my opinion on wet dreams? So for men, dang, that's a whole nother nerd night. Shoo. Am I dreaming? I wish I was. So for guys at least, men should not be involved with, like, unless you're in a serious relationship, men, I think personally, shouldn't be involved in, like, doing that during the day to where they're emitting. Does that make sense? But at night, I think it's a normal, natural thing that your body knows when the time is right. So if you have a dream, like a guy has a wet dream per se, your body knows that it needs to release. But I don't think that's often. Now, if a man has got some kind of crazy sporadic where he's doing that stuff all the time, it's not good for his body to have the natural release. So I think it's a natural process. Now, for women, I have no idea. what that is like. But wet dreaming and you're having a romantic dream, I mean, it can be great at that time. I've noticed that sometimes I don't have an emission. If it does happen for whatever reason, I'm comfortable with you guys, obviously. Then it's just part of the natural process of what your body needs to do, and that's probably why I did it while you were sleeping. And I think the most of what you are, that essence of a man, it's still there. That's what I think. Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
All right. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. All right. I have to say that I guess I'm pretty nerdy because I have dreamt of solutions to complicated functions and calculations in my dreams, and then I've implemented them the next day for work, and they work. So I'm pretty amazed at that. That's happened to me a couple times already. So yeah, I'm kind of a nerd. So I'm glad I'm the one that's doing Nerd Night, I guess. All right, so Nerd Night Trivia, that should say August. I might have forgotten to update this slide. I might have been dreaming, I don't know. I want it to be my birthday again, yes. We were just talking about my birthday. All right, question number 1. The eruption of which volcano in 79 AD destroyed the cities of Stabiae and Herculaneum? Nope. Vesuvius. Mount Vesuvius. All right. What prolific shower can we see when we look up into the night sky during August? More specific. Yes? Yes? Yes. The Perseus meteor shower. Flip and I happened to be at Badlands National Park in South Dakota in August 4 years ago now. And we got to see the Perseus meteor shower. Completely black night sky. Not only did we see the Perseus meteor shower, we got to see the space station. We didn't even need a telescope for that. That was pretty awesome. Who patented the kinetograph camera in August of 1897? Guesses? Thomas Edison. All right, so that is it for trivia, but it is not it for Nerd Night. We still have one more amazing presenter. Trent is going to be coming up after our next 10-15-minute break. He's going to tell us about the perception of privacy and how we might be able to get it back. I don't know. Let's see.
All right, nerds, I don't have a microphone right now because it's around her head and she's all set up. So I'm going to have to screen this next part, but thankfully...
Hello, everybody.
I don't have the screen long, but I do need to change it. Excuse me 1 moment.
Excuse him 1 moment.
Yes, I have an echo.
He has an echo. We're getting ready.
All right, everybody.
All right, everybody, let's put our hands together for me. Forward is down. So I'm Lisa Hatfield. I am just a regular civilian, and I'm here to tell you about a story of hope, about things you really can do, even when you get home tonight, so that you can be safer when a wildfire comes here. I want you to cheer because it's going to be all positive news. Let's see. And then so this is the story of the flying ember, wildfire and you. And I've also written a novel that has real people in it and stuff called To Starve an Ember. And by the time we're done tonight, you're going to understand why you need to starve those embers to keep your house safe. But this story is about the actual ember itself, and he's the main character. So it's a story of hope for you. So it's a tale of hope about how we can adapt again to living with wildfires by controlling the fuels on our property, on your private property. You don't want anybody else to come there and do that for you. You want to do it yourself. Once upon a time, a smoldering ember lived in a stone-lined fire pit dug into the earth. This flying ember, this living bit of charcoal, lived happily with the people for 10,000 years. It was part of the community, and it was loved and appreciated. The people could not imagine life without the flying ember. They kept the fire alive throughout the seasons and the centuries. When they moved from one camp to another, they carried live embers with them, nestled inside a bison horn coated with mud and sealed with a stone. The embers were vital to them. The fire represented continuity with all the generations of their ancestors. They used fire to parch seeds and nuts and cook food. It helped them through the harsh winter weather, and they gathered around its warmth to visit and tell stories. They used frequent low-intensity fires to manage the landscape for specific species of plants and animals, and to hunt deer, elk, and antelope. And this routine fire restored the land by encouraging new life and getting rid of dead vegetation. Every year when the weather and the wind were just right, it was the flying ember's job to start a prescribed burn when the people set it free. Every year, several million acres burned, and no one was upset. In fact, they were happy with the flying ember for helping them so much. That's how it was supposed to be. In the prairies, it made room for native plants to push through the tough root systems. The fire crawled along through the pine needles with a low flame, and when it reached a tree, it would jump up the bark several feet and then drop down again and keep going. It was doing its job. The pine cones opened to let new conifer seedlings grow, and the ashes of the old plants returned nutrients to the soil. The fire loved to burn, clearing out the prairie, the understory, and the woody brush. Since they burned regularly, there wasn't too much fuel, and the fire's temperature was low and didn't damage the earth. It just burned a patch coming up against last year's burn scar on this side, and on the other side, the patch where it burned the year before that, making a mosaic pattern. The fire was not a catastrophe. It was a useful tool. The ember liked that, being part of the way nature intended all things to work together for good, even fires. It liked being alive. All it needed to stay alive was fuel, oxygen, and heat. If it ran out of fuel or oxygen, or got too cold, it would starve, suffocate, and die. But with a little bit of fine, dry fuel, it thrived, and it could kindle a warm fire with just a few sparks. Eventually, the people who held the flying ember in such high esteem, the people who lived as a team with the landscape, had to move away. Most of the new people who moved onto the land saw fire in the prairie or in the trees only as a destructive force that started by accident. They didn't know how the fire could help make the ecosystem healthier. Whenever a fire started, the people stopped it right away because they were afraid and because their houses were now in its path. They didn't realize that the fuel was piling up as the vegetation kept growing. No small fires were allowed to keep burning or to clear out the fuel on a regular basis. They decided to stop all the fires because they were all bad. This was called fire suppression policy. So the flying ember went into hiding. It was a fugitive now. It had a bounty on its head. The fire didn't get to clean up the prairie or the forests. Every seedling, weak or strong, struggled beside its neighbors. Dog hair thickets of pines clumped up, and every tree tried to grow to be a mature pine tree. And so instead of just a few healthy pine trees per acre, now there were 300 or even 500. But because they were all squished together and had to compete with each other for water and sunlight, they looked like lollipops, tall sticks with clumps of branches only growing at the top. Meanwhile, the people built more towns in places where there never had been towns before. They built log cabins with cedar shake roofs and wooden decks. They built clapboard cabins and put their wood piles next to them to help them get through the winter. And the ember looked at all of them and smacked its lips, saying, "Fuel, I am so hungry. If I
cyborgs, because we cannot live and function without a cell phone. These cell phones, only 5% of the ability of your cell phone is to make phone calls. Okay, the iPhone 6, older iPhone, checks the clock, 32,000 times a minute. That's how fast these computers go. So put that in perspective, it's 120 million times faster, your cell phone, than what NASA computers used to launch the first rocket to the moon. Think about that for a second. 120 million times more efficient and more processing power than all of NASA when we put a man on the moon. That's what you carry in your pocket at every minute of every day. So GPS, I can turn my phone off and your phone is still pegging GPS. Just because your phone is off doesn't mean your phone is off. You can't, how many people remember about 2002, you could no longer take the batteries out of a cell phone? Does anybody know why? The US government told cell phone companies not to let people do that anymore. So if you get in trouble or you get hurt, they can geolocate you, find you, and come and render assistance. So you cannot turn your cell phone off. It is never turned off. When you turn your cell phone on and you get located and you find a tower, your phone has to ping that tower to tell you where it's at all times. So you can't turn a phone off. That phone is always working. Anybody know what metadata is? Okay, I'll hit this one real quick. There's always information whenever you call that's going to the cell phone company. Name of the cell phone, serial numbers, blah, blah, blah. So here's my question. Why do you think cell phone providers are giving away free 5G phones? Metadata makes up 0.5% of the information that can go between the phone and the tower. If I can make that 5G, I've exponentially increased the amount of data that I can take from you. So when you go buy that new shiny 5G phone, you're giving away more of your privacy. So go real quick, PII, that's just your personal data. This is the kind of information. You put a name, you put somebody's phone number, address, and everything on your phone. You have given out all that information to Google. You've given all that information to the cell phone companies. That is no longer your information. You've now given it away because they can render what everything is on your phone. How many times you get an app and it says, hey, can we use your photos? You've just given them permission to get into your cloud. You say, hey, can we use your camera? They can turn your camera on anytime they want and film whatever your camera can see. You've given them permission to do that. So understand what you're allowing people to do when you do things. Access your cloud. So this is what you're giving away. Your photos, your documents, your access to your home computer. Because your computer is now connected through the cloud, I can use the cloud to pivot back into your home computer. Credit card numbers. These are the top security threats for smartphones. Real quick, you got malicious apps, spyware, poor password security, identity theft, and so on. Okay, how many people understand the difference between HTTP and HTTPS? That's not very many. It just means that your computer is secure. So if you go to your bank and you don't see HTTPS in the corner of your thing, that means somebody's stealing the information that you're putting into the system. That's what it means. So I can, this right here, this is a fake website, has the same name. Let's say I send you a link. My my bank is USAA. So I go to USAA.com. What if the A's are not actually A's? What if they're alphas? You know, alpha, omega. So now I look at it, it looks like USAA, I click on the link. That takes me to somebody else's website. I put my username and password in real quick. It says, hey, I didn't get it, do it again. So I do it again. Now they're the man in the middle. So all the information goes straight to his computer, then from his computer to the bank, because he's going to use your username and password to get into your bank account. And now he sees everything that goes back and forth. So I'm this bad guy. I got your information, right? Am I going to steal your money? No. I'm going to steal $1 a week, $1 a month. And I'm going to get 1 million people, and I'm going to do that. You will never find me. And I will steal $1 million a year, and you will let me continue to do it every month. Because you'll think it's some kind of, that's just, I have to pay that to the bank. It's interest, whatever it is. And you'll let me steal it every month. So why would I take all your money when I can get paid every day? So the other thing is how many people go into your computer, Control Alt Delete, check what's going on, right? Check what's on, right? What's that? The tasks, right? You like look at that, and it's a big long list, right? So on a computer we call them GUIs. That's what you see. You see the GUI, right? Well, for every task that you think you're using, there's probably 30 tasks that are running in the background that you don't see. If I can get something onto your system, I can have that running, you'll never know. And I can be stealing everything you type. I can steal off the back end of your computer. I can take what I want, and you'll never know. Okay, we're going to get into something real quick. How many people pay for Google? How many pay for Google? You pay Google? Okay. Well, Google is a $318 billion company, and they give everything they have away for free. How are they worth $318 billion? That's a B with a billion. That's because they buy and sell your information. When you get a .google or @google.com email, in the thing that you don't read and you just hit yeah, you give them access to every email, every piece of information in that email. No, I'm just talking about gmail.com. In your hard drive, you give them permission to see what's inside your hard drive. That is no longer your information. That's yours and Google's information. It's not private. That's a deal between you and them, and they're allowed to see and go through anything because you've given them permission in the user agreement. So Google sells that information. Okay. How many people shop at King Soopers? Whole Foods. Okay. How many people have a loyalty card? Okay. Do you know what loyalty cards do? Anybody? Okay. What's loyalty cards do? Okay. What's that? What do you think? What's that? Tracks what you buy. So put it this way. How many people have went to a King Soopers, Whole Foods, whatever, Walmart, and you go in and you price something. Then you're like, I don't want it. And then you drive down the road and you go to another Walmart and you say, I'll go buy it, and it's 10 cents more expensive. Prices are based on zip code. I know how much this zip code makes, so I'm going to sell this product for what this zip code is willing to pay. Poorer neighborhoods cost more for chips and soda. Richer neighborhoods cost more for kombucha and different things like that, right? So if you want to save money, go to a different zip code to shop. But what they're doing is they're target pricing. I promise you, in 5 years, there will no longer be prices on your grocery store items. And every individual pay what they think it's worth. So let me take a step back while you're thinking about this. When you have your loyalty card, how many people get custom coupons? All right. So if I make every bag of chip $3, and then I know how much you want a bag of chips, and I know how much you want a bag of chips, because, I love chips, so I paid the $3. They know they can't get you or you to pay $3 for a bag of chips, so you get a 30-cent coupon. We have now have different price points per product. And eventually that's how these things will work. You'll actually get coupons that you think you're getting a discount, but those are specialized to you as an individual. So now we have different price points per person. Because I know Trent Bunnell will pay $3 for a bag of chips, and I know Flip, he'll pay $2.50. So now I can maximize my profit, and I'll decide what coupons I give, because I know I have 10,000 bags of chips in the store this week. So what do I have to sell them to the individual to sell all 10,000 bags? But I don't want to sell 11,000 bags because now I've lost money. So it's to find that exact price point between supply and demand. That's the kind of stuff you're giving up. You're giving up your shopping. You're giving up these things. Phone for hotels. Okay, that app is connected to Maps because you want to click the button so it goes to your hotel, right? The reason it's connected to Maps is it says, you know what? It's 8 o'clock at night and Trent is 400 miles from his home. So let's send him an email saying 30 miles in front of him there's a hotel and we're going to give it to him for $99 a night. I know Trent's an introvert, so I'm going to send the key to his room to his phone. He can check in on his phone, so I can just go straight to my room and go to sleep. And I can charge that phone to my phone now. I may have never stayed in that hotel. I may have never stayed overnight. But because they know where I am and how I'm driving and my habits, now they got me to spend $100 that I normally wouldn't have spent. That's all because you're carrying a supercomputer in your pocket at all times. So this is where advertising is moving. So let's say every morning I drive to work at 7:30 in the morning, and I take the exact route every day. And then I come home at 4:30 and I take the exact route home every day. They know that I stop at McDonald's, I don't know, once a week to get a Coke. Because they're $1, right? I just go get my $1 Coke. They go to McDonald's and at that McDonald's and they say, you know what? You make $10,000 a week. So what we're going to do is the first $11,000 you make this week, we're not going to charge you anything. Every dollar that you make over the $11,000, we want 50%. So now they give targeted ads. They give different things, different emails. So let's take this a step farther. You're on Facebook. I write an article. I want to sell that article, make money, right? How do I make money? Clicks. How do I get clicks? Facebook now has a way that it knows you. It'll have a title on that article to get you to click it so I can make money. It'll throw a picture on that because it makes a deal with McDonald's. So let's say it's on flooding. So it'll be the golden arches in the background. So now you're thinking of McDonald's more often. It manipulates what you see and what you do on every app and every kind of thing that you touch on the phone. Because again, it's a supercomputer that's linked to you. Joe. So that's cookies, and yes, that's one way. But let's take it a step farther. That's elementary level, right? So let's go to college level. I drive by a place every day. It knows where I'm at. It then senses how I'm doing and where I'm at, and will only advertise on my phone the places that I see the most often. Because why would I go to Bed Bath & Beyond if I'm never within 10 miles of Bed Bath & Beyond? But I am close to Pier 1, so those are the advertisements that I'll get because that's where I'm at. This is where we're at today. Things aren't happening on accident. You are being manipulated in everything that you do. Okay, Facebook, it says after 100 days, it has a 90% rate of picking, 90% accuracy of telling you when you're going to get a divorce or you're going to break up before the individual user knows. So they can predict it. They know, and then they use this, honestly, they use this at Valentine's Day to manipulate customers on buying things. It's just the algorithms. It knows that, like, when I'm happy and I'm whatever, maybe I'm looking up cars, old classic cars. But maybe now I'm clicking on pictures of ladies or different things like that. So it uses my likes and my flows and what I'm doing to say, hey, wait a minute, there's a fundamental change in his personality. Why is that personality changing? Oh, it's because him and his girlfriend are having issues. That's the kind of things that Facebook can do right now. They also say that they can, go ahead. That is an excellent question. I was going to get there. Okay, I'll go ahead and answer it though. DuckDuckGo, they tote themselves on having the best privacy out there. Your privacy is safe as long as you don't mind everything going to Microsoft. They have an exclusive contract with Microsoft. All their information that they seek and they get goes straight to Microsoft. They don't give it to anybody else. Now, if Microsoft turns around and sells it to somebody, that's a different story. But DuckDuckGo gives everything that you type and click goes straight to Microsoft. Okay, so we're going to talk about the onion. Have you ever heard the expression, it's 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other? If I'm on the regular internet, there's 1,000 people who can see what I'm doing. If you're on tour, the people who know what they're doing knows what you're doing. So the question is, would you want one really bad guy knowing everything you're doing, or would you want 1,000 people to know what you're doing that may not do anything? So it just depends, man. It depends on how you want to play that game. Oh, by the way, King Supers, do you know what their number one thing that makes them profit is? Their number one good that makes them profit. Your information. They make more money out of their database than they do the grocery store. Your data is their number one profit. Do you know what King Super's number one loss rate is? What they lose money on everything more than anything? Starbucks. They lose money on Starbucks like crazy because they're the owner. But here's the thing. People who shop with a coffee in their hand stay in the store for 25 minutes longer. That's why they want you to have a Starbucks when you go to the grocery store. Exactly. Same as the hot dog at Costco. Exact same thing. Because nobody goes to Costco just to get a hot dog. That gets you in the door, they lose money, and then they make money on other stuff. Okay, so we're going to look at this again. So why do I keep showing this? The United States is different than most countries. And the reason I'm going to tell you this and what I'm going to show you is laws are to protect you from the government. Your rights are to protect you from the government. So when I give you the privacy statement in 1974, that's your safety from the government. Human beings and companies cannot violate your rights. They violate the law. All these laws on the top in red and blue, that's what your right is from the government. Only the green laws are your rights from other individuals. So the U.S. government decided about 10 years ago that corporations were people. So Walmart, Kmart, they're treated as individuals. So if an individual is allowed to own your data or see your data and have your data, then Walmart's allowed to see and have your data. And that's how they get treated. Right now, there's only 6 states or 7 states that really have laws to protect you as a customer. You do not have the right to be forgotten. Once it's out there forever. Now, let's think about the EU. The EU has GDPR. You have the right to be forgotten in Europe. Their rights protect the individual. In the United States, it protects companies. Does anybody have any idea why that is? It's close. It's close, but it's not the real reason. But why does the EU not care about this? It's actually the opposite. Their laws have been around shorter because the EU is only 25 years old. But what is it? What do you think that happened about 50 years ago that gives them more awareness into privacy? It boils down to Adolf Hitler. Hitler used tax rolls to catch the Jewish people. And that's how he knew if you were Jewish or not. he made it a part of the census. That census was then used to track, and that's how he knew who were the minorities were. That's where he knew where everybody was at. So to this day, Germany is so paranoid about their bad reputation that they make those things illegal. And they protect their people. It's because the EU is younger. Our laws look back 300 years. Their laws look back about 40. They see their laws look at things more currently. So that's why you get more protection in the EU than you do the United States. Okay, so I scared you. Boo. Boo, you're scared. So let me tell you what you can do to help protect yourself. So to say that you have privacy in the United States is wrong. You're never going to have privacy. But what can I do to be more private? So use a VPN. You should be on a VPN on your computer. Does anybody, who knows what a VPN is? Okay, you can literally buy it for $4 a month. You can go into and have somebody else worry about all that stuff and get a VPN. That encrypts your traffic and also obscures your location of where you're from. So companies will never know where you live, okay? So it hides you. Use multiple browsers. On my computer, I have 5 browsers. Why do I have 5 browsers? Browsers look at cookies. Cookies tell who I am, where I'm at, how much I spend, how much I go to this website, this and that kind of stuff. That's always saved in your computers. I can keep trying to delete those cookies, but those cookies are never really gone. Computers hide how to get to somewhere. They don't delete the information on it. So if you go to if you have some bad pictures you're not supposed to have and you delete them, you're not deleting the picture, you're deleting the way the computer finds that picture. So it leaves the picture on your hard drive, and then eventually you'll get written over. But for months, maybe years, that picture is still on your hard drive. That's how we find pedophiles. Okay, so I have a browser that I use just for research. I have a browser that I use just for banking. I have a browser that I use for email, and so on and so forth. And I move around, so therefore no one company gets all that information at one time, right? If you go to southwest.com today and you look for a site or you look for a ticket, and then you go to Expedia, and then you go to Delta, Southwest knows you're shopping around. They're going to charge you $5 to $10 more for not being loyal. If you have the app, they'll charge you less because they know that you're more chance of being loyal to them, right? They don't want you to look around, so they're going to punish you for looking around. Because Delta can see U.S. Airlines cookies. They can see Southwest's cookies. If you have multiple browsers, you can do that. You can use one browser for one airline or hotel and use another browser for another. That's kind of how you protect yourself. Those browsers should also, if you go into the settings, you can set it under proxy. And then that will it'll make it look like your computer's that browser is on their home website and not at your home. It's proxying back. Have multiple emails. How many people have more than 4 emails? More than 4. How many people have more than 6? I have 10. What is your username on most websites? What's that? Or it's the beginning of your email address. So if you have one email address, you've already given away your username. So now all I only have to do is guess your password, right? How many people have like 4 passwords and they just rotate them? So if I crack your password in one place, then I'm going to start looking at other things and use your cookies, and I'm going to use your username and password to try to break other sites, right? Real quick, in case I go long, I apologize. Most people remember in blocks of 4, 3 to 4. That's why social security numbers in 3s and 4s, phone numbers in 3s and 4s. That's how our brain works, right? I can remember 16 digits if I break it into groups of 4, 4 groups of 4. So when I look at doing a password, all my passwords are 16 digits, every one of them. That's further than rainbow tables. We can talk about that later. It's a whole other thing. But every one of them is 16. I break it in groups of 4. The first 4, I'm making this up so you don't try to hack me now. My first 4 might be the first 4 letters of my first name, T-R-E-N. It's my first 4. The second 4 is those same things over again with caps, T-R-E-N. So now I have 8 digits and I don't have to remember nothing other than my first 4 letters and hitting shift. The second 4 is a group of numbers. It can be my last 4 of my phone number. It can be my wife's phone number. It can be anything. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I hit shift, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to go take it up. I'm going to go crazy, right? I'm going to go beyond 16. I'm going to put the website or whatever I need it for is the last 4. So if I'm using it for USAA, my bank, my password is T-R-E-N, caps T-R-E-N, 1, 2, 3, shift 1, 2, 3, USAA. And I can have 1,000 passwords and I'll remember them all. Okay. Understand what loyalty cards are. You're giving up information. You're giving up your shopping habits. The more they know of your shopping habits, the more that can be manipulated. I'm not saying don't use shopper cards. I want my 3 cents off on my gas. But I'm just saying is maybe you let other people use it from time to time. Maybe you let your kids use it. Whatever you want, just so they don't know your buying habits or whatever. Just kind of keep it a little bit private. You can turn off your cell phone, but we all know it's not turned off. So is there anything wrong with not taking your cell phone with you if you go hiking? 9 times out of 10, it don't work anyway. Or leave it in your car, or maybe I take my wife's cell phone with me. Check for the lock. Sometimes you'll see a little padlock where it says HTTPS. That just lets you know you're running secure, means you're encrypted. Understand the internet's forever. Once it's on there, it's there forever. So this is something that most people don't understand either. The internet and the cloud is somebody else's computer, right? So if I'm jumping from my servers to get to my Wayne webpage, it's leaving information, a trail of information there. So if you send an email, your email could be on 30 people's different computer systems. It's not secure. Okay, do not give out any information that is not relevant. I can't tell you how many times I'm on a website and I want to hey, I like this. I want to get a username, password. And it starts asking about my wife. Nope, delete, I'm done. You don't need to know that, so why is that required? So, boom, I'm done. Also, you've seen this thing, this has probably been about 5-10 years ago, where it's let me get to know you better on Facebook, and it asks you a whole bunch of questions, right? Those are security questions for credit card companies. What's the name of your first dog? What street did you live on? What's your mom's maiden name? Some of those questions are the exact questions that are on for security. You post that or somebody gets that, they have a better chance of now cracking your password. Do not take unsolicited phone calls. If you don't know who it is or why it's coming, don't answer it. Hang up. What's the first question they ask? Was your name Trent Bunnell? Yes. They've just now recorded that yes. Well, blah, 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 and ask me questions. They can go in, if they're unscrupulous, and open a credit card in your name if they get you to say the right sequence of events. That's how identity theft starts. So if you don't know them and you don't want to talk to them, don't. I had my bank call me one time, Mr. Bunnell, this is important. We want to verify who you are. No. Give me your ID number and I will call you back. Okay, here's my phone number. I don't need your phone number. I can Google it. If you give me a phone number, you're going to give me a dirty number. I'm going to call you right back. That makes no sense. So now I'm going to call your 1-800 number. I can get off the website, give them your operator number, and I can find you because I am not taking an unsolicited phone call. Do not click on links. Like we said before, it may be alpha. So if somebody sends you Facebook/Trent Bunnell, don't click on it. Go to your web browser, put in facebook.com/Trent Bunnell. That way you know you're going where you want to go. Also, a lot of times you can see on links, I can write anything I want, hyperlink it, so you think you're going to Trent.Facebook, and instead you're going to joebadguys.com. Never, ever, ever click on a link. Don't do it. Type everything out yourself. Okay, verify a sender before opening an email. How many people open up an email, you're getting ready to send it, and you put trentbunnell@gmail.com, and then you go down to the email, And then you look up, and that email has got an underline on it. It's already pinged the server. So back in the early mid-2000s, terrorists were getting joint accounts. And I wanted to send you an email. I never sent it. I would draft it and leave it. You'd put your username and password in there, you'd read the draft and then delete it. That's how they were getting away from censors. That's how they could go behind the government's back. The government now pings it, and they see that. So when you put a name in it, if that name is on a watch list, they can get into your email before you even send it out. Even though it's sitting on your home computer, people can see your emails before they're sent. Do not allow apps to have any permissions. How many people have seen that really cool app called Reface? You can take any character and you take somebody else's face and you put it on that character. So the first question is, can we use your phone or your camera? Yeah, sure, why not? Can I use your phone book? Yeah, sure, why not? Can we use your photos? Yeah, sure, why not? That's a Russian app. That was created in Russia. So now you've given them all your personal PII in your phone. Just gave it to them outright. What app scared the U.S. government, the Pentagon, more than any other app? And it came out about 2013. Worse, much worse. Pokemon Go. Terrified. Because now I could put a Pokemon in front of a military base. Your kids are going to go by, take a picture. That picture goes straight to China. These apps are being used for things. That's all you got. That's what you need to know. Don't give permissions to a supercomputer you have in your pocket. Okay, one last thing, a little bit on a roll. One last thing is your phone communicates all the time. We know that. You give permissions for your camera. You've just given all those permissions to somebody to tap your entire life. Everywhere you go, everything you do, they can see it. There is proof that Google was using Alexa and different things, and they find recordings. So here's the loophole in the law. I'm not allowed to record you because I can't hear it. The law actually is broken once I listen to that recording. So if I capture that information, I have a machine go through that information, pull out keywords, and build databases on you. I've never heard your voice. I've never broken the law. The laws are too old. So when Lexus and all that goes in and does that kind of thing, human beings never hear or see those passages. Artificial intelligence does and makes databases from that. That's how they're allowed to do it. Plus, if it doesn't ever get back tagged to flip, and it says, I'm making fun of, I'll use me. Say it comes back to Trent, and it says 48-year-old male, married, white, likes X. They may not be spying on you as an individual, but they're going to spy on your demographic and make a category, and they're going to build databases on those things. And that's one of the things that you're worried about. Never save a password. Never, ever save a password. Use multi-factor as much as you can. Does anybody know what real multi-factor is? Multi-factor is 2 to 3. They have two-factor, but multi-factor. But it's something you know, something you have, something you are. So if you have a password, it's something I know. If it's something I have, maybe they're sending me a text with a number, and I put that number in, right? Those are different factors. There's also a fourth one. It's called location. So if I know my computer will never leave my house, then I can put in my address. And if you're not trying to get into this website, it has to be coming from my address, right? So then that's called local. And that way, if somebody in another state tries to get in, they can't because they're not at the right location. You can actually make geofencing. Everybody heard of geofencing? That's what geofencing is used for. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay, this is what I want you to take away. This is what I want you to grab, put in your pocket. You do not have the right to privacy, and you do not have the right to be forgotten in the United States. That is not a right. So that means once it's out forever. Almost no laws to protect you from corporations. The laws to protect you from the government. A corporation is a person. That's why cyber stalking and stalking is so hard to prove, because you're violating a law. It's not a right. It's much easier to say the government's tracking me. You cannot trust what you see, especially in emails, links. This right here, this is not an A. That is an alpha. So you see that. I'm literally went into my thing. I got an alpha, put it in there. That is not an A. Sometimes they use Russian letters that look like American letters. It's a whole different font. It's a whole different thing. Okay. Back in 2015, I believe, a performance artist went out and he bought 85 cell phones. He put the cell phones in red wagons, spaced them out, hooked a bunch of them together, and he pulled these wagons down the street, 85 of them. Immediately, Google Maps and Waze said, hey, wait a minute, there's a traffic jam. We can't let people go down this road. So then it diverted all the traffic that would have normally went down that road to another road. That road had a traffic jam. That road diverted and diverted. It completely changed the traffic patterns in Sacramento, California for 24 hours because the guy went out and bought 85 cell phones. That's the power of the internet. That's the power of the supercomputer that you carry in your pocket. Why is Google worth $1 billion? So most of the profit is from your information. Once privacy is lost, it's gone forever. You can never get it back. So these little tricks, use multiple emails, use different browsers. These are the kind of things you got to do. Yes, am I super paranoid? Am I that guy? Yes. I'm so paranoid that I don't drive to work the same way more than 3 times in one day, or 3 times in a week. I take different patterns so they can't check me. I get on Google Maps, they send me every month, every place that I've been and everything, so I can see what they're seeing. I have them do that so I know I didn't divert my pattern enough this month. These are the kind of things you're being tracked every minute of every day. It's scary now. It's even scarier for my daughters and my son. That's the kind of thing that keeps me up at night. I'll stay around a little bit if anybody has any more questions, but thank you. Shoot. Am I dreaming? Come on, Q. Anybody else? Any other thing? All right. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Trent. That was extremely informative. If you were not paranoid before, you might be now. I don't know. Nerd Night. Oh, I forgot to update this too. I must have been dreaming. I don't know. So next Nerd Night is the 3rd Wednesday of September. So whoever looks at a calendar right now and can tell me what that date is, that's the day that the next Nerd Night is going to be. Keep on the lookout on our Facebook, Nite COS, Instagram, Nite COS, September 21st. There we go, September 21st. So if you would like to support Nerd Night, if you had a good night tonight, go ahead, follow us, like us, review, share us on the socials. We would greatly appreciate that. If you have any presenting ideas, you can reach out to us by sending us a message on the socials, or you can send us an email, as long as you think it's secured. I don't know. nerdnightcos@gmail.com. Next awesome community event is our memoirs, True Stories Unfiltered. It's going to happen on Monday, August 29th at 6:30 p.m. at Kinship Landing here in downtown. And that is it. We are done for the night. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We'll see you next time. Ciao.